Obama and what's really going on, and the people out there. So what do you feel like energy-wise people can do to start to really, get to the...
I just got a prompt saying 10 seconds. I don't know what that means, but hopefully
we're good.
Okay. Well, basically, in 10 seconds, I would have said...
No, we're good. The show just keeps going on.
Okay, what can people do? I'll tell you what they can. Well, I tell you what they should do. I think that they should start realizing that they need to create the change. Right now, the first thing, there's a saying, the buck stops here. I'll give you an example. If everybody put out their intention right now, and I wish they would, listen to what I'm saying very strongly, and say, you know what, either I got kids, I know somebody got kids, or I might want to have children. I don't want any more wars. Do you have, I'll put the question to everybody out there, do you have adequate health insurance, dental, medical? Do you have coverage? Do you have, everything taken care of? The answer is no. Then you want every troop who's stationed abroad to come back home. I'll tell you why. Because right now, they're spending $700 million a day in 100 bases all over the world. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I can tell you this. If they just brought the troops home, Afghanistan, Iraq, and all these places, they could rebuild America. Everybody would have health care, medical, and this would be the greatest country ever put out on the planet in the history of civilization.
Why do you think America feels like it has to flex its muscles so hard, though? Like why can't it just chill and, do what you just said, give money to the people? Well,
here's why. As long as you have fat cats, you have bankers who are calling shots, as long as you have the Federal Reserve Bank, who is an illegal corporation that loans money to a government that's bankrupt and charges interest from the moment that they borrow it, you could never come out of debt. John F. Kennedy in 1963 enacted a law. It was Executive Order number 111100, 4110, and it was to do away with the Federal Reserve Bank. What he wanted to do was to back our currency with silver. There was about $4 billion worth of currency of silver, actual silver that we had, and back it, and American people would start getting those dollars, and then they would pay off the Federal Reserve Bank the money they owed them, and they would do away with them. Well, 6 months after John Kennedy had the money begin printing, they had 10s, 20s, and $2. That's when the $2 bills, I believe, came out. 6 months later, they decided they were going to kill him in front of Dealey Plaza and make an example of him by shooting him in the head. So, because of that, there could have been a change. The country would not be in the shape it is in, because then we would have not had to borrow from a private company, the Federal Reserve Bank, and then these bankers now wouldn't have control over everything we say and we do.
I know, they just buy things over, whole networks, and fire people. It's crazy what these people with long money can do.
Well, I'll give you another example. The other day, I saw yesterday, that the Federal Reserve now wants to loan us, the government, $600 billion in bonds. Well, wait a minute. We don't want your money because we got to pay interest on that. So how do you get out of debt? And the American people aren't smart enough to see that all this money Obama gave away. Who did he give it to? He didn't give it to the people who needed it. And who did he hire from his cabinet? The same old tired suspects, from the Clinton regime that were all corrupt. So you look at it like, what change did you give me, fella? Did you change your socks today? I wonder.
Right.
Because you didn't change anything. You look at campaign promises. Show me one. Just show me one.
And they just put $750 billion right back to the war, and he's saying of how they're going to come back.
Well, I just heard the other day, he had Biden, Joe Biden, Joe the plumber, I would call him, tell the American people that we're going to be in Afghanistan until 2014.
Wow.
And nobody said anything. Hello? And what they're saying over in Afghanistan is that why don't you guys declare war against Afghanistan start a draft, and then we'll see if the American people allow you to terrorize our country any longer. Because who they're killing, Vickens, is innocent women and children. They're the people that are getting killed. That's the damage that's happening. And the Americans, here, watching the Super Bowl 2 weeks from now, they'll be watching the Pro Bowl on Sunday, they'll be watching, Dwayne Wade and, Kobe Bryant do their thing. Meanwhile, you got people over there dying who's saying, you know what, America, we need help. We need some help. We need this to stop. You can't keep terrorizing the planet. Right now we got Iraq. Now we went to Afghanistan. We're trying to get into Iran. We want to go to Pakistan, then India next, and then China. We owe China so much money, that if China would have pulled the plug right now on the debt, we'd be in a Great Depression. American people don't get it. A guy like me, Vickens, is straight up. I'm going to tell you, I may not like what I'm telling you, but you know what? I'm telling you for your kids, and their future children. Because if it doesn't stop now, what's the point? At some point, you have to say enough is enough.
And what's going to really happen out there? Like, what are we trying to see happen in this future of ours?
Well, I'll give you an example. You got a guy like Jesse Ventura, who, when he became governor of Minnesota, he had 23 Secret Service agents he had to meet them in the basement, and they interrogated him for a couple of hours, and they wanted to know, how did you win the election? Like, here it was. They wouldn't even give him their names. Here he is, the governor of the state. And he came out public and said, you know what? He goes, they wanted to find out how I did it, so that way no one like me could ever do it again.
Wow.
Like, how does this happen, that a former pro wrestler becomes, the governor of a state?
Wow.
Well, the reason why it happens is because maybe he'll tell it like it is. Maybe he'll tell the truth,
And he seems to be doing that. I heard he has a show coming out, or it might be already on TV that
well, yeah, I mean, he talks a lot about conspiracy, 9/11, and he knows what time it is. He knows, what's real and what's not real, and if you believe, that's one of the reasons when I was in New York the short time I was there, I had a hard time staying there because people, are like tied in the drum there. Everybody's, still living the 9/11 make-believe terrorist thing. And anybody who was, indigenous, black, Hispanic, or olive or tan, were looked at like as if we were all criminals.
Right.
I thought, wait a minute, what do I got to do with Osama bin Laden?
And I know, and why are they still looking for a man this long?
Well, the reason they're still looking, like I said, because he's hiding in the most obvious spot. If you see my videos there regarding that, you'll see that there were at least 3 or 4 men who posed as the real one. But Benazir Bhutto, in her interview with David Frost, said in 2007, 6 weeks before she died, that Omar Sheikh actually assassinated the real Osama bin Laden, and they think it was done before 2001. And they had 3 or 4 other men afterwards pose as bin Laden in Taliban photo shoots. This is all BS, And the sooner people realize it, then they'll know, that something needs to be done. You cannot just keep looking the other way. You have to at some point, do something.
And to start to kind of simply just wake up and make choices every day, because a lot of people I know talk about how they wake up and they hate their jobs, they hate laboring every day. So like, well, what are they gonna do different? You have to do something different.
Well, what I think is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to leave the cities and realize that there's no jobs there. That they're trying to dangle this carrot in front of them, but now there's no carrot to crunch on, and they're going to go back living simpler lives, living closer to the land, becoming more spiritual, fellowshipping with other people, and give up this materialist idea of life because it's not working. Capitalism doesn't work, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. I'm not saying, here's why I'm saying it. 3% of the people own all the wealth of the world. United States. I mean, there are very few wealthy people, and there's more wealthy people than there are poor people. It's like the number is unbelievable, and you can't get ahead here no matter how hard you try. It's like going to the casino. The house always wins. You don't beat the house. You can't gamble unless you're gambling with the house's money. You're going to lose your shirt.
Mm. Yeah, it wouldn't be logical to design it so the house can lose.
Exactly. I mean, if you got Atlantic City there, you got people. This one comedian told a joke. He goes, I came out there and in my Cadillac, and I went home on a luxury. I lost my shirt, and I came home on a luxury $100,000 bus.
Wow.
So when you start to realize that it's not what it appears to be, then it's time you take action. And the way you take action, I guess, is that everybody one-to-one has to start, in the neighborhoods, start going one-to-one, door-to-door, and saying, what, we need change. We need real change. And, you need somebody to step up to the plate. And I think the person who's going to do that cannot have any political affiliations. Has to be someone who really has a handle on, that we are all one. And this is about collectively raising the entire vibration of the planet, not just on your block, but the whole planet. Because with the invention of the Internet, right now, this show is probably going out to viewers all over the world. And I'm putting it on everyone out there. So you know what? Take this message, if you believe it, and share it with other people. Share at least 3 people today. And hopefully they'll share it with 3 people, who then share it with 3 people. And then what we're looking for is a critical mass, or the 100th monkey, so to speak. And everybody will get it. And then once everybody gets it, somebody who is accepted and trusted by the mass will come up, step forward, and be the speaker and make this thing a reality that I bring out here today.
Oh, yeah. And just help people understand that it's like totally logical and easy once we come together and start really working together towards a common cause, which is what we all want anyway.
I'll give you an example. When we were kids, right, we'd be playing ball in Brooklyn, right, in the parks. Well, when it was time to go home for dinner, the guy who owned the ball said, guys, I'm sorry, but I got to go. He took the ball. We all looked at each other, right? We wanted to keep playing, but he took the ball and went home. So here's the analogy to that. If we stop paying the bills for these people to go to war, all this money that's going to the defense and all this, then everything has to stop. If everybody for a week said, you know what, I'm not going to buy any gas, I'm not going to use my car for a week, that would cripple these oil companies. If everybody said, I'm not going to go to work for a week, you know what, that would affect the companies. Unemployment rates would change in a heartbeat. Everybody together has to say we need to sacrifice just a little. But America's had it good for a long time, and right now, they don't want to give up. What they've already got. It's like the Jeffersons moving on up. We finally made it. Well, you know what? Things are changing. Nothing stays the same. Everything's in cycles. One moment you're up, Wall Street will tell you, and the next minute you're down. So people are going to have to make some tough decisions as to what they really want in life, and lower their expectations, because your values and your morals and your sense of responsibility are going to be very, very, very important as we go forward, because you're not going to be able to get things with money anymore because you may not have any. So you better be able to barter or be able to figure out a way to exchange things, do energy exchange or do work, somehow where you can get things, because if the paper currency isn't there, what are you going to do? Where are you going to pull it from? Out of the air? You're going to become a magician? Of course not.
Right.